This is The Space Shot, episode 270 for February 8th, 2018. Tranquility and the Cupola. I'm John Molnix. On February 8th, 2010, the Space Shuttle Endeavour launched on its penultimate mission to deliver the Cupola and Tranquility module to the International Space Station. Tranquility was the last of the major U.S. modules to be installed on the station, and the Cupola is by far my favorite part of our orbiting laboratory. On Flight Day 3, Endeavour rendezvoused with the station and performed the rendezvous pitch maneuver, which was a procedure that was adopted in the wake of the Columbia disaster. This maneuver allowed the crew of the station to photograph the shuttle's heat shield, giving ground crews the ability to check for potential damage that could have happened during liftoff. On Flight Day 4, astronauts prepared for their first spacewalk. One of the procedures is to have the astronauts camp out in the Quest airlock. This allows the crew to sleep in a reduced pressure environment, which helps purge excess nitrogen from their bloodstream. By camping out in the airlock, astronauts can avoid decompression sickness. An interview with NASA astronaut Joe Tanner from 2006 goes over this procedure in greater detail. This is a longer quote, but this process is fascinating. Quote, "Before any EVA, we go from a pressure of inside the station of 14.7 psi, which is the same atmospheric pressure at sea level here. We need to scrub as much nitrogen out of our blood as we can before we go down to a suit pressure of about 4.3 psi and 100% oxygen. There are a number of ways to do that. We have done it by breathing 100% oxygen for 4 hours in the suit. That takes a lot of time. We also have a protocol referred to as the exercise protocol that accelerates this denitrogenation process by use of exercise, and it's a bit cumbersome on the crew and the ground to monitor the protocol. And while you're exercising a little bit before you go out and do more exercise, so we wanted to try a protocol that has been around for quite a while but never really used, referred to as campout. It's a modification of the type of protocol we've used on the shuttle for years, where we depress the shuttle down to 10.2 psi from 14.7 and leave the crew at that pressure for up to days. In the one case of Hubble missions, they stayed at 10.2 the whole mission until landing. That reduced pressure helps purge out some of the nitrogen without any extra effort other than just your normal breathing and sleeping activities. So, we're going to try this new protocol, and for each EVA, the EVA crew will camp out, if you will, in the station airlock and depress the airlock only. You cannot depress the entire station to 10.2, it's not certified to go to that pressure. But you can depress the airlock down to that pressure, and the crew sleeps overnight. As long as you're in the airlock at 10.2 for 8 hours and 40 minutes, I believe the number is, then you've met the requirement to be at the lower pressure long enough to purge nitrogen. Sorry for the weird grammar on that last quote, but it did have some interesting information on part of the process that's used by astronauts and cosmonauts for EVAs. After the astronauts' first EVA during the STS-130 mission, there were still 2 more to complete. During this flight, astronauts also put the station's robotic arm to use to install the Tranquility module and relocate the Cupola from its launch position to the position that it's in now. Incredible views of our home planet have been captured by astronauts and cosmonauts looking out one of the 7 windows of the Cupola. Tag me in a post with your favorite Cupola pictures, and I'll be sure to share them on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. It's incredible to think about the amount of work that went into planning this mission. Just for EVAs, the years of training and preparation for just a few hours outside of the spacecraft is staggering. There's also years of developing procedures for moving modules with the robotic arms and training to make sure nothing goes wrong. It's a pretty incredible process, but the installation of the cupola has brought back some fantastic views, and I think you'll agree it was worth the time. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'd appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes. If you do that, screenshot it and send it to me at John Molnix pretty much everywhere on the internet, and I'll send you a Space Shot sticker and a little thank you. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button, that way you don't miss any of the daily episodes. As always, the show notes have more information on today's episode. You can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter. Find me at John Molnix. I'm always up to chat. You can also connect with me on Facebook. Just search The Space Shot or click the link in the show notes. Tomorrow, part 1 of my conversation with Kelsey Singer and Joel Parker about New Horizons, Pluto, and the Kuiper Belt. I'm John Molnix, and I'll catch you on the flip side.